Hello, computer science students. Today we're going to talk about warnings and errors and the Java reference. So the first thing that I want to deal with is warnings, compiler warnings versus compiler errors. Okay, a compiler error is something when you've got some bad code. So let's say you have maybe a semicolon that is missing. You hit compile, boom, it's going to pop up. Right down here, it's going to say one error found. This file, here's the error. Okay, so fix that, put the semicolon back in there. And I'm going to compile it again. And now we see something different. Nothing's highlighted, but this says one warning found. And you may have said, okay, what's this warning about? If I click on it, it'll actually tell us where the warning is. A warning is just that. It's something that the compiler is recognizing that maybe you need to take care of this, maybe it's going to cause a major issue, maybe not, it's not sure. In this case, the warning says resource leak. Keyboard is never closed. You're like, what in the world? I barely even understand what the heck this whole line is. How am I supposed to close it or whatever, okay? So, one of the things in Java and all programming languages is that if you open something, if you create some sort of object which is accessing a device, then at the end of the program you want to close access to that. Later on when we deal with files, we'll find out that if you open a file at the beginning of the program, you need to close the file at the end. That way nothing gets corrupted, there's no what are called resource leaks, where something could sneak in and affect this resource or this item or this file or this device or whatever. So I'm going to tell you in a minute how to deal with this particular problem, but let me give you something else that might happen. I've seen this already in student programs. So ignoring that warning right now, let's just say we have another integer. We'll say int num4 equals 0, and then we never do anything else with num4. We're planning to, but for some reason maybe we forgot to. Okay, I say, okay, I'm going to copy this num3 down, and I'm going to print it out there, but then I forget to actually do it. Now if I hit compile, you notice now I have two warnings that are found. This one right here, this keyboard never being closed, but now this other one, it says, warning, the value of the local variable num4 is not used. This actually is a really helpful use of the word warning, or helpful use of the warning. If you notice, the program's going to run. I'm going to be able to, obviously I can compile it, I can run it at this time, but the compiler is telling me, hey, you seem to think you were going to do something with this num4, but you never did. You're never reading it, you're never using that value, not in any calculations, you're not printing it out. Hey, just give me a little heads up here that you might have done something wrong. And in this case, looking at the warnings is very helpful. This one in particular, so I say, oh, wait a second, I should have changed that to, to num4, and I should have put num4 here, and I probably should have maybe asked the user for a fourth number, and so on and so forth. So enter fourth number, put num4 here. So the warnings in that case can be very helpful. Not to say that this other one isn't, but this is definitely something that you can use to fix your code and identify problems really before they even happen. So now let's deal with this keyboard, and the issue is that it's never closing. So if I hit compile, that other one should go away. Yes, it does, because I do access num4 and I use it down here as well. So one of the things that can be a really helpful tool for you is the Java reference material. Everything about the Java programming language. So let's just go ahead and do a little search here for the Java reference guide, or the programming guide, or whatever. Okay, so we've got Java quick guide, the Java language specification. This is what I'm talking about here. Anything you see when you do a search on Java, if you see where it says Oracle.com, Oracle is the company, the Oracle Corporation specifically, that manages Java. There's sort of like, they bought it or whatever, but anyway, but they're the ones that control it. So this is really helpful if you want to just read everything from beginning to end about Java. It's all right here. This is the Java language specification. But of course, what's more fun to do is to just do maybe a search. In this particular case, this says scanner keyboard. Now, keyboard, that looks like a variable name. I'm not really going to do anything. I'm not going to search that. But this scanner object, especially because if you remember the top here, we're importing this scanner thing here. So we'll talk more about objects as the class unfolds here. But we're just going to do a search here. Java scanner object. Okay. So here's something again from this tutorials point here, but if I look down at my search results, this seems to be pretty promising. Scanner for the Java platform from the Oracle Help Center. Oracle, yeah, hey, look, let's click on there. This says University of Texas. Now we don't need to mess with what they have to say at this point. So anytime you've got this nice little teal border up here at the top, you're dealing with something official. You can see, so again, this is an oracle.com document. So this says class scanner. And a lot of this might be a little too technical, but it's not impossible to understand. I mean, the more, if you're interested in learning more and getting further, this is a great place to start. Some of this stuff you're like, I don't understand what this means. Throughout the course of the year, you will. This is a simple text scanner which can parse primitive types and strings using regular expressions. A scanner breaks its input into tokens using the delimiter pattern, which by default matches white space. You're like, yeah. I want to know about closing it. That's what I do. So let me give it a good old-fashioned Control F on my Windows computer here. It brings up my search bar here, and I'm going to look up close. Okay. It's got 64 matches. It's closable. Okay, yeah, that looks good. Auto close. Got some. Oh, s.close. I wonder if that would work. s.close. When the scanner is closed, it will close its input source if the source implements a closable interface. Boy, closes the scanner. That sounds like exactly what I want. Okay. And then maybe you're not sure, you know, this one says keyboard is never closed, so that's why I'm doing search on there. Maybe you're like, okay, this might be what I want. You can just do a search on Java, comma, how do I close a scanner? See, we don't even have to bother capitalizing. Okay, Java util scanner.close method example. .close. I'm seeing a lot of this close business. Just put a .close. Let's just see what happens if I do that. Scanner.close. Now they're calling that scanner. They say scanner, but in mine I said scanner keyboard. So here at the very end, I'm gonna just try this. I don't know if it works. Maybe it will. Keyboard.close is what they all have with open parenthesis, close parenthesis, semicolon. I'll hit compile. Hey, what do you know? No warnings. In fact, that's exactly what we needed. So, a couple of things. This Java reference, this I've never messed with this tutorials point, but it's it's okay. So, but you can look up Java and maybe string class. And there's some really good stuff on strings and all the different commands. If you scroll down here far enough, this is constructors, which we haven't talked about, but method summary. These are all the different commands that you can do with a string. And it's actually pretty interesting. Equals ignore case. Ooh, that's a helpful one. There's so many here, but sometimes it's useful just to look through it. You might find a method or a command that does something that you didn't expect. I'm going to go back here, do a search on the math class, and I will tell you this: if you go through some of these methods, so we'll scroll down here, method summary, there are some that will make your programs even shorter and will do some really fancy stuff. And if you utilize one of these methods that you find on the website as a way of solving a problem, rather than doing it maybe the long way, like you might otherwise have to do. I mean, hey, I'll give you full credit on that. If you're looking up the documentation and you're finding something, go for it. That's awesome. That's exactly the type of thing that I'm looking for. So just a quick little item here, for instance, we'll just do something easy like ABS for absolute value. If you look at it, it's a link. It's actually going to take you farther down on this same page, ABS for absolute value, and it's going to give you a little bit more information on what's going on with that command. Parameters and returns, we haven't talked about that yet, but that's just basically what's the input for the parameters, and the return means what's the output. What's it going to return? Well, it's going to return the absolute value of the argument. It's going to just take the absolute value of it. So anyway, this is a very helpful resource. Like all programming languages, you've got to look at the documentation, and this is the Java documentation managed by the Oracle Corporation. Alright, so we talked about warnings versus errors on the compiler. We talked about how to close the scanner class. We talked about the Java documentation. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.